Hello, dear students. Welcome to the online class of Appavoli School, Kalaburgi. Myself, Jojish, and I take English for the grade 5th. You know, children, already the 3 units have completed from our English textbook. Kavita Reddy Madam explained to you. And here I am standing in front of you to explain the 4th lesson that is written on the board. Unit 4, PIP and the Escaped Prisoner. PIP and the Escaped Prisoner. And this story was taken from the novel Great Expectation, written by Charles Dickens. He is a famous British author and he has written so many novels, and one of his novels is called Great Expectation, and a small part of the story has taken from Great Expectation to our textbook for English to study. So before the explanation of the lesson, let's understand what are the things we are going to learn in this lesson. Before that, I recommend all of you to take your English textbook and open your page number 53. In this unit, what are things we are going to learn? Think and talk about right and wrong action. So we are doing many right actions in our life, as well as we are doing wrong actions also. So just think and talk about those right actions and wrong actions. Next, learn synonyms and antonyms. Synonyms means the words which have similar meaning. Antonyms, the words which have opposite meaning. So we will learn synonyms and antonyms from this lesson, and learn some new adjectives for describing people. Adjective is a word which used to qualify a noun. So we will learn some new adjectives which describe people, and revise comparative forms and learn about superlative forms. So comparative form we have already studied. If not, we'll study and superlative forms of this adjective. Then practice pronouncing words containing the sound ist and est. The words which has ist and est, how can we pronounce? These all things we will learn in this lesson. So let's do a warm-up activity before the explanation of the lesson. I will explain the lesson to you to make you understand better. So let's do some warm-up activity. I have already written on the board warm-up activity, and also it is there in your textbook, page number 53. Complete the words with one letter. Warm-up activity is there. Complete the words with the one letter. So in your textbook, right side in page number 53, one picture is given there. A man who is in the prison. So based on that picture only, these sentences are made. And what we have to do means, here in these sentences, in words, one letter is missing. So we have to find out the missing letter and make the word correct. So we will do this activity now. The first sentence is, this man is in dash. P dash I-S-O-N. One letter is missing there. If we put the correct letter, we will get the correct word. This man is in prison. What is the spelling of prison? P-R-I-S-O-N. P-R-I-S-O-N is called prison. So this is the word prison. What is the spelling of prison? P-R-I-S-O-N. Now let's move to the second one. He wants to dash. Here one letter is missing. E-S. After that, one letter is missing. Then APE. So he wants to escape. What is spelling of escape? ESCAPE. So what is the missing letter here? C is missing. So when we added C here, we got the correct word, escape. Third one, if he runs away, he will be dash and dash. HU-RY. So here one G also is there. HU-GRY and TH-RSTY. So if he runs away, he will be hungry. What is spelling of hungry? HUNGRY. HUNGRY is the hungry. Okay. HUNGRY, hungry, and what is spelling of thirsty? THIRSTY, thirsty. Next one, he will need dash and something to dash. He will need food. What is spelling of food? F-double-O. So O is missing there. F-double-O-D. And something to drink. What is spelling of drink? D-R-I-N-K. Drink. Something to drink. He will also need dash and one dash. He will also need money. M-O-N-E-Y. Y is the missing letter here. And warm clothes. C-L-O-T-H-E-S. Warm clothes. So we have completed the words by filling the missing letter. Let's read once more. This man is in prison. He wants to escape. If he runs away, he will be hungry and thirsty. He will need food and something to drink. He will also need money and warm clothes. So this is the warm-up activity. And one more activity is there. That is B. Circle the objects that might be in the jail with the prisoner. So what are the objects will be there with the prisoner in the jail? Prisoner means who is prisoner? Who are in jail. If a person has committed a crime, the police will catch him and will put him in the jail. So he will be the prisoner. So what all the objects will be there with the prisoner in jail? Suitcase, chain, wallet, handcuff, saw, keys, ball. These many objects are given there. And what all the objects will be there with the prisoner in the jail? We have to circle that. Suitcase, whether suitcase will be there with the prisoner or not? No. Chain will be there or not? No. Wallet will be there or not? No. Handcuffs will be there for the prisoner. So will not be there. Keys also will not be there. Ball also will not be there. So only handcuffs will be there with the prisoner in the jail. So just put the circle in handcuffs. So these are the warm-up activity, and just fill all these things in your textbook. This is in the page number 53. Now you can take your page number 54. We will explain the lesson. Okay. While explaining the lesson, we will learn the new words which is written in our chapter. So to help us to, it will be helping us to understand this chapter better by getting the meanings in our textbook. The meanings are written, the word and its meanings are written in the left and right side of the lesson. So please take your textbook and open your page number 54. Reading. Great Expectation is a book by the famous British author Charles Dickens. Already we have told So this story, Pip and the Escaped Prisoner, is a small story in our textbook, but this story is a part of a big novel called Great Expectations, written by the famous British author Charles Dickens. It is a story about a poor boy called Pip. Pip is the name of a boy. He was a poor boy and his name is Pip, who became rich, but he wasn't always happy. He was a poor boy and later he became rich, but he was not happy in his life. Pip's parents died when he was small. So he lived with his older sister and her husband, Joe, who was a blacksmith, a person who makes horseshoes and other useful metal objects. So his parents died when he was very small. His parents died. So he was living with his older sister and she married to a person called Joe. So he was living with Joe and his sister. So Joe is the husband of his older sister. And what is Joe? He is a blacksmith. What is blacksmith? A person who makes metals by using iron. Okay, so it's called a blacksmith. One day, when Pip was in a graveyard, he met an escaped prisoner. So what is graveyard? Graveyard is a particular field where the graves are there. Graves means the dead bodies we will cover in a particular place. It's called grave. So that field is called graveyard. So one day when he was in the graveyard, he met an escaped prisoner. One prisoner escaped from the jail and he met him in the graveyard. Reads Pip's story. And what is happening in the next? It is written in our textbook. I will explain you detailedly. And for us, meanings are given in the left and right side. That also we will learn with the explanation. Okay. Joe was the blacksmith who worked the forge. What is forge? We got one new word. It's forge. Forge. Its meaning is given there. A forge is a place where a blacksmith makes things using iron. So he is a blacksmith and he makes so many useful metals by using the iron. So that particular area is called a forge. Joe was the blacksmith who worked the forge. He was very big and I was very small, but we understood each other. He was very big and I was very small, but we understood each other. Here I means Pip. Pip is telling his story to us. So remember, if I tell I means it is Pip, a small boy. He's telling he was very big and I was very small, but we understood each other. He was very big and I am very small, but we know each other. We understood each other. There was no problem between us. We also shared a problem. My problem I will share with him, and his problem he will share with me. Pip, if there is any problem with Pip, he will share with Joe, and if Joe is having some problem, he will share with the Pip. They were having a mutual understanding between them. Our problem was Mrs. Joe and Mrs. Joe's temper, which was sometimes very fiery. So another one word is there, it's fiery. Fiery. Fiery temper means very angry. So what was their common problem? They were having one common problem, that was the temper of Mrs. Joe. Who is Mrs. Joe? Wife of Mr. Joe. So she was a angry lady. So always she was angry to them. So that was a common problem they faced. Neither Joe nor I could do much about it, but we put up with it together. They couldn't control or they couldn't solve the anger of this particular lady, but they somehow they adjusted that. And Mrs. Joe put up with us just. Mrs. Joe was very good at finding jobs to keep me out of trouble. She found me one on Christmas Eve. She went she sent me to the graveyard to tidy round the graves. So she was very clever, as well as she was very good finding jobs to me. She will be always giving some work to me. And once I got the work from her in the graveyard. So graveyard already we have explained, a particular field where the graves are there. So she found me on Christmas Eve. She sent me to the graveyard to tidy around the graves. So here on another word is there, that's called grave. So what is grave? A grave is a place where a dead person is buried. Dead person is buried in a particular place is called a grave. So she sent me there on a Christmas Eve, and what was the work? To tidy around the grave. That means to clean the side of grave. If grass or some unwanted plants are there, means just pluck it out and just arrange those areas neat and clean. That was a work given to me in the graveyard, to tidy around the graves on the Christmas Eve. It was very quiet in the graveyard. Some of the gravestones were very old and some were quite new, like those of my family. So it was very quiet. It was very silence there in the graveyard. So no one will be there, only dead bodies. So it was very silent and it was very cold. When I was arranging all these things, some of the gravestones are new, some of them are very old. I couldn't cry at the forge. It worried Joe and it angered Mrs. Joe. But I could cry as much as I liked in the graveyard. And since it was Christmas Eve and grey and damp, and the wind was so cold and I was all alone, that's what I did. So when I was in the forge with Joe, I was not crying at all. But when she sent me to the graveyard to work there, I cried a lot. I was crying and crying. So because I was alone there and it was in the Christmas season, we can understand the climate, how it will be in the Christmas Eve. It was very cold. So I was all alone there doing the work there. So I cried and cried and I was feeling very cold also. I sniffed. One another word is there, sniffed. S-N-I-F-F-E-D. Sniffed. What is sniffed? When you sniff, you breathe in through your nose noisily. So when we are breathing through nose noisily, it's called a sniffing. So because it will be little bit difficult to take the breath because the climate is very cold. I sniffed and then rubbed my eyes with my muddy hands. My tears came faster and faster. It seemed to me that my tears were the only warm thing in the whole cold world, and that thought made me more sorry for myself than ever. So I was crying continuously and I sniffed. I was taking breath noisily, and my tears were coming down. So I rubbed my tears with my hand. My hand, it was full of mud. So with muddy hands, I rubbed my teeth. And when in this Christmas Eve, I came to know that only my tears gives me fun. I cried and cried as thin mist crept in from the marsh. Next one, marsh. M-A-R-S-H. What is marsh? Marsh is an area of land that is always wet. Wet area is called a marsh. Stop your noise. I leapt in terror. Terror. T-E-R-R-O-R. What is terror? Great fear or panic. So when I was crying, I heard a great sound. What was sound? Stop your noise. Stop your noise. I leapt in terror. I got panicked. I got scared. The voice had come from the shadows by the wall. The shadows moved and became a terrible figure, a man perhaps. So the voice had come from the shadows by the wall. Near by the wall, the voice came, just like the shadow. And I was looking there only. So the shadow started to move and finally it became a terrible figure, a fearful figure. and it was a man. He looked like a man freshly dragged out from the soaking earth. He was dripping wet and all cold as clay. Next one is clay. C-L-A-Y. What is clay? Clay is soft, sticky earth that you can use for making pots and sculptures. So with clay, we will make pots, all these things. Okay. So he looked like a man freshly dragged out from the soaking earth. He was dripping wet and cold as clay. His hands gripped my arms and his horrible voice said he might cut my throat. I believed every word. So that man came, he was just like came from the mud with the soaking earth. And he was dripping wet and cold just like a clay. And he hauled me in my arms and given the warning that he will kill me. That means that particular person who was hiding there, he told he will kill Pip. So I believed that. But he didn't cut my throat. He tipped me upside down to empty my pockets. I kept a piece of bread with me when I could to throw to a savage, starving dog that guarded a nearby fan. The terrible man ate that dry bread as if he might die if he didn't. And he mentioned that he might also eat me. So what he did not kill him. Instead of what he did, the man dipped me upside and down to search my pocket something is there or not. So what was there in my pocket? What was there in the pocket of Pip? There was a small piece of bread was there in the pocket, and actually he kept that piece of bread in the pocket to give to the dog which is there in a nearby farm, and it is a savage, that means a wild dog which was starving. Lack of food was there for that dog. So by feeling sorry for that dog, he brought a piece of bread and kept in his pocket to give that dog. So what this man did, he took that bread from his pocket and ate it. So I thought, if he if he's not going to get that bread, he might be died. So very eagerly, very fastly, he ate the bread which he already got from the pocket of Pip. And he also mentioned, remind me, he will eat me. That means that man will eat Pip. I believed that too. I had never met a man who so plainly spoke the truth. I believe because he was in a terrible figure. I was very scared by seeing him. He was a prisoner escaped. Now I understood he was a prisoner and he escaped from the jail. I knew that when I saw his leg with the iron ring around it. A chain was fixed to the ring and a great iron ball bigger than my hand, bigger than my head, bigger than his head, dragged from the chain. How I understood the man is an escaped prisoner, because there was a chain around his leg and that chain was connected to the big iron ball. So he cannot walk fast. So that iron ball was bigger than my head, bigger than his head. And he was dragging that iron chain and the iron ball through the ground when he walks. The man told me what he wanted, food and a file. So next one is file. F-I-L-E. What is file? File is a tool for smoothing and shaping hard material, just look like knife. So a small knife, that's called a file. So what he wanted, he want food and a file. Do you know what a file is? He asked me. That man asked Pip, do you know what a file is? I knew what a file was because Joe had them at the forge. It was a tool that would saw through iron. If the man sawed with a file for long enough, he could cut through the ring on his leg. I knew what a file is because it is there in the forge. Joe is a blacksmith. He always use the file, and always the file will be there. So I knew it. So what is the specialty of that? What the man can do with that file? So he can cut the ring which is already fixed in his leg by the help of this file. So that's why he asked him to bring a file. Food and a file. He told me to bring them in the morning and tell no one, or he would have my heart and liver. That's what he said, and then he let me go. And he gave the warning. You have to bring food and a file in the morning, and don't tell to anyone. If you are going to tell about all these things what happened now, I will kill you, and I will cut your heart and I will take your liver. And he allowed me to go and told me to come morning with all these things. I didn't want to steal from Joe. I liked him too much. I didn't want to steal from fiery tempered Mrs. Joe either, but that night I did both. I didn't do it just because I was afraid of the escaped prisoner. When I came to the home, I just thought I don't want to steal all these things from Joe and Mrs. Joe. But I did. I stole that because I was afraid of this man. I stole the food. I stole file from forge. That was not the whole reason, almost, but not quite. I had been called, but he had been colder. I had been hungry, but he was ravenous. Another one word is there, ravenous. Ravenous. What is called ravenous? Very hungry. I had thought I was alone, but he was the loneliest person I would ever met. And he was frightened. I thought he was as frightened as me. Now he is comparing himself with the prisoner whom he met in the graveyard. So I had been cold, but he is very colder. I had been hungry, but he is hungrier than me. I was alone, but he is the loneliest person I met. And I was frightened, and he also frightened. So he compared the prisoner with him and understood and felt very sorry about him. I stole the file, and I stole bread and cheese, and I stole, since Mrs. Joe would go wild anyway, the big brown once a year at Christmas pie. Another one is here, pie, P-I-E. What is that? A pie is a baked dish of meat, fruit, or vegetable that Mrs. Joe made. That particular dish is made on the Christmas Eve. So she specially prepared pie for everyone. So what he did, he stole a file and bread, cheese, and particular pie which Mrs. Joe prepared. I thought he would enjoy it if he was still there in the morning. So I thought he may enjoy what all things I am giving if he is there in the morning. He was still there, colder, shaking with the cold, hungrier, shaking with that too, but he enjoyed his pie. I asked him, and he told me, "Thank you, my boy," he said. So when I went morning, he was still there, and he was feeling very cold because it was the Christmas season, and he was very hungry. And when I gave this one, he enjoyed that, and he ate the pie, bread, cheese, everything, and told, "Thank you." He asked my name, and I told him Pip. He asked my name, I told my name is Pip. Then I left because I was afraid to spend any more time anyway, because he was in a scary figure. So I was not able to stand anymore in front of him because I was scared of him. That's why I left from there. "Give me the file, boy." That was the last thing he said to me. So, "Give me the file which you already brought." That was the last sentence he told me. I gave that to prisoner. He didn't say goodbye. He didn't watch me go. He was filing away at his iron ring. So when he did not say goodbye to me and he did not see I'm going back to my home, he was continuously breaking that iron ring which is already fixed in his leg by the help of or with the help of this file which he already brought from the forge. He was like the savage dog at the farm. He was just like a savage dog and at the farm, and it's like wild and starving. I was sorry for him and I was terrified of him. I felt very sorry for him and as well as I was very scared of him. I would never have dared unchain him because even though I am not having the dare to go in front of him, then how can I unchain him? So I don't have a dare to unchain him or make him free. I left the prisoner unchaining himself and I went back to the fort. I came back to the fort by leaving him unchaining himself. Later that day, I learned his name, Magwitch. What is his name? Magwitch. Magwitch is the name of this prisoner. Later I came to know. Soldiers came hunting for Magwitch all over the marsh. So they already got the news. One of them has escaped from the prison. So Magwitch. So soldiers were hunting there for Magwitch. So from them I came to know Magwitch was that. Mrs. Joe instantly blamed him for the loss of the pie. Magwitch must have stolen it. So when the soldiers came there, asked to Mrs. Joe and Mr. Joe, have you seen Magwitch anywhere? So she came to know that someone has stolen pie which was prepared by Mrs. Joe for the Christmas night. So she thought Magwitch has stolen that one. So she blamed him for stealing the pie which was prepared by Mrs. Joe. Poor fellow, said kind Joe. Joe is a kind person. By hearing all these things, he felt very sorry. He told, poor fellow. I didn't say anything because the whole story I know, but I kept quiet. And this is the story, my dear children, written by Charles Dickens, and the story is taken from the great novel Great Expectation. So this is the explanation of the story, and just read the story once more and study the words and the meanings, and it will help you to understand the story again and again. So tomorrow we will be doing the exercise part and we will complete the lesson, and this is for today. Thank you. Have a great day.
Phone is ringing, sir.